Minimum wage, alcohol delivery, sex scandals. We got some more too. I don't have them right in front of me, but I do have them over here for when we get going right on the other side.
Well, midnight headlight, blinded on a rainy night, Steve laid up ahead, slow me down and making no time. I gotta keep it rolling. Those windshield wipers slapping out the tempo, breaking from the rhythm with the song on the radio. I gotta keep it rolling. I'm driving my life away.
Welcome everybody to Thursday Night Live. We're here again. I got Sean back with me again. And by the way, he's streaming to his channel too. So if he wants to drop a link into the chat on mine or through StreamYard, he's welcome to do so. And you guys should, even though he might, I haven't even looked, he might not have content up there yet. Give him a subscribe because he's planning on it. So
I have one video and one post, and the post was about today's thing. And so I just, while waiting backstage, I figured out I could stream this as well. So yeah, thanks, Steve. I appreciate that.
No, I wanted to make sure people knew that, like, just because there's might not be content on there yet, it's coming. Because you and I have talked, you want to do some things. So like, it don't go over there and think, well, this is an abandoned channel. No. It's he's gonna do something with it. So get ahead of the game.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thanks for having me back. So I got a question. You opened up with sex scandal, minimum wage, and illegal alcohol delivery. Is that one topic, or is that more than one topic?
Wait, sex scandal.
Sex scandal.
No, yeah, I mean, I was trying to see if they could be one, but I don't think the sex scandal and the booze would go hand in hand.
Well, why not?
I mean, yeah, sure. You know, but I mean, I don't think. I mean, if
anyway,
that would be a whole other story, because that could be somebody delivering to a drunk. And again, we'll prove this point tonight. But that could be somebody delivering to a drunk who ends up accusing them of rape or something.
Sounds
like, and you didn't even enter their house. Again, if you guys, we'll get into it tonight. But if you're just doing alcohol delivery because it's on the app, you need to listen to what we say tonight. Because one thing I've been doing, I did it with Geezer last night about South Carolina. I did it with Jason Thierry about Michigan. And we're going to do it about Colorado, since that's where both Sean and I are from tonight. What I'm doing is I'm bringing up each state where the guest is from. And guess what? Sean and I are both from Colorado. Do you have to, is DoorDash enough to do it here? Nope. And I got what you need to know here. So we're going to go through that as well. But yeah, it's good to have you back, Sean. Let's see who's here. What's up, Derek? What's up, Traveler? What's up, Sue? Rick?
We got
Matthew.
Lynn.
More than one. I don't know what more than one is. 3 and 1. Okay.
More than
and
one.
Lynn. Hey, Lynn. What's up? How are you? Always good to have you over, because I always think of Lynn as and again, I'll give her the plug. I always think of Lynn as Twitter, but every once in a while she comes over here and says hi or drops in on a video comment or something. But it's good to see him, but she does a thing she does a thing on Mondays and Lynn can correct me if I'm wrong, 7 p.m. Eastern, I think, 4 p.m. Pacific. That's Twitter Spaces live.
It's 5 o'clock Mountain. I know that because I've been on there enough times. So
okay,
yeah, they got a great.
I think I got it right.
A great space over there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think her handle is, again, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think her handle is also the same that it is in chat right now on Twitter.
I think so, but Lynn, go ahead and put that in chat for everyone.
Yeah, in fact, Lynn, because you have a mod ability, you can put the link right to the your Twitter handle, because a lot of these people might not have Twitter accounts. Guess what, guys? You don't have to have one to watch it, or maybe you do these days. I don't even know.
I don't know.
For a long time, you didn't. You could just click a link and watch. You wouldn't be able to comment, but Anyway, check it out. They do a thing on Mondays, and it's it's another honest discussion that happens. So check it out. So I was going to start. So I tried on the podcast. I tried last night. And by the way, if you missed last night's live, it performed really well. And why I care about that is it means it got out to a lot of people. I love having Geezer on. It's not something we do often. So when we do it, we ran our longest podcast ever last night. It was like almost 2.5 hours. But anybody who was there and joined us, like if you go in 2.5 hours, like I broke it into 13 chapters so that, how it does that on the video and on the audio podcast as well. But you can go and see what we talked about and go directly to those parts. But everybody that was there last night said, watch the thing from start to end. I've even seen comments on the video and whatnot. We never stopped flowing once. And Geezer and I can really get into it sometimes. So, and we covered a lot. We covered a lot of BS and, just stepping up your game and things that, we definitely every time said market to market, city to city, app to app, like we were just giving you a lot of, it was a lot of life lessons almost. It was to expand your independent contractorship if you want to. And it was all about making more money. So if you guys want to make more money and not because of a tip or a trick or any other bullshit, but if you want to make some money because like what is the next level? I don't know what the next level might be for you, but we put out a lot of ideas last night. So,
I think that's different between everyone. You got part-time people, you got the people trying to do it full-time. So, like you said, figure out what your next level is and make a goal and go for it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was trying to get into one of the things with Geezer that I wanted to do, that I've been looking into is, what do you call it when you certify documents? I looked into this a while ago and then I kind of never followed up with it again because I got busy as always.
Notary?
Yeah. Like a notary. Yeah. A weekend class and you can become a notary. And if you're doing gig work, you're in your car all the time. If you're a traveling notary, those are used by law offices, other things.
Right.
You can make some money, guys. Just know that. I mean, it might not, at first glance, it might not. How am I going to make money doing this? You can make some money being a notary.
Right.
It's not always just $5 for, hey, prove this is my signature for the landlord. You can do legal documents and make hundreds of dollars and stuff. So,
and it used to be pretty easy to do. Is that you'd fill out your
I think it's just putting in the time and taking the class
and get a bond and get a small bond. Yeah.
I mean, I really think it's one of those things though. It's one of those things you got to put in the time first to reap any of the rewards.
Right.
You can't even start to dabble in it without doing the class first. So it's rolling the dice. It's taking a chance on yourself and you make some money there. So I guess what I would say about it is before you go, hey, that's the idea. I'm going to be a notary now. That was just one idea I floated out there. We have hundreds, but what I would say is research it in your market.
Right. That's exactly it, because each state's going to be different about what the requirements are.
They're all fairly research the need. Like Google it and see how many notaries there are in your city.
But if you're in Elbert County, that may not make sense.
Sure. Call a couple places, call a law firm and say, hey, I hate to bother you, but I'm thinking, because a secretary at a law firm, they're not going to bill you. And they probably will be pretty nice to you if you're just calling and you're not calling it a busy, hectic time for them. And you're like, hey, listen, I'm just curious, like, what do you guys pay notaries? I'm trying to think if this is a space for me to get into. There's no reason for them not to want to help you there or be honest with you, because there's nothing that they need to hide. So,
real estate companies, title companies, another couple areas to hit on.
Yeah, for sure. Also construction, like GCs and stuff, like they always need stuff. So,
right.
but yeah, so so the story that I have not got to is Maine. We'll get to that one for sure, because it's strange. But I mean, I touched on it, but I want to this Uber sexual assault trial. We've touched on it a few times, but I really want to get into it a little bit tonight because this is different now. What's happened that the trials started? You know, I mean, you got everybody singing that's being summoned.
So if people look at this and really see what happens in the shadows of the corporate world, and I lived in that world for a long time doing litigation support, so I know. I'm looking at this going, yep, somebody got screwed in discovery because they made a discovery request and found all the private messages on Slack. This guy was sitting there thinking he was free to say whatever stupid thing he wanted, and now he's being held accountable for it. He got deposed, and now he's like, oh, I was a blah blah. So yeah, it's really interesting. This is going to change things a lot depending on what happens, because obviously Uber tried to settle this. Based on those comments alone, they would have wanted to settle it, and the other side is saying, "Hell no, we're not going to settle this. We want a bigger payday, and hopefully we want to be able to set some standards for the future of safety for both passengers and drivers."
I'm actually looking at the comment here before we move on to this sex story, because I'm sure we're going to get into it, but I'm seeing a Matthew in the chat. Hey, Matthew.
Right.
I do DoorDash and order Uber Eats drunk or not, though, to be fair. Wait, what are we talking about here? Hey, Shane. Hey, awesome Amy, and hey, Kevin Hawthorne and some others. But what do we maybe I missed something
on which one, on Pompey's comment? I think he's just curious. I looked before about if we're talking about news, and yeah, that's a lot about what we got about 4 or 5 topics.
No, I'm looking at these Matthew Warper. I hope
you
I'm
mean
not
about
saying your name wrong.
the crazy? Yeah, about someone being crazy. Yeah,
but I was scrolling up, and I think what he was referring to is the comment about the reason I'm hitting on it's because I think he's referring to the illegal delivery of booze, and he's saying I do DoorDash and order Uber Eats drunk or not.
Yep.
To be fair, okay, we'll get to it, but my point is it's not legal just because the app lets you do it. We'll get into it, but there's other steps you need to do if you want to do liquor delivery. If you ask me about it, my 2 cents will be don't do it regardless.
You and I are both on the same page. We briefly touched on that last time, about being tip certified and so on and so forth. And yeah, I mean, just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Well, and just because it's on the app doesn't mean you can.
You should, or you can.
No, right. I'm saying to even be able to say I can means you need to jump through the hoops we'll be discussing. That makes it legal.
Right.
If you're not doing anything except for turning on DoorDash and doing it, you're doing it illegally. Just saying.
Correct.
You guys.
No, I agree with
you. Yeah. I know you know. I'm telling
you and I are both going to probably get subpoenaed someday because of this. You and I making the statement.
I don't care. But I don't care. I worked in the bar industry. I owned bars for 25 years.
Right.
Like I know exactly. I know packaged liquor. I know wine licenses. I know doing the 50-50 split. I know Michigan law. I know Colorado liquor law is something I know all about. And you have to go to Excel. We'll get to it, but stick around because it's not legal. It's not legal at all.
Yeah, let's get back to this sex assault trial that's going on though.
So where were you going with this? Because
for me, I mean, it was just it's finally, hammer time for Uber with this, because somebody is just saying it's not for you or I or anybody in here to decide whether that event really happened. They've got a case that it happened, obviously, and the thing is that people are going to finally start seeing, and somehow they had a discovery request and Uber wasn't able to convince a judge, no, they don't need that information, and now they got all these Slack messages and everything else, and now this is going full trial, boys and girls, and this is going to really change the industry.
Oh yeah. And I mean, we're only starting out with a few, but we have over, I mean, it depends where you get your stats from, but I'll just use the general one. I know a lot of people work in the 6,000s, but let's just call it 7, because I think there's a lot we're not even talking about yet. I think it's more like 10, but there's 7,000 women, maybe some men too. I'm not trying to, I don't have that specific, but sexual assault has been going on for a long time. And what Sean is referring to with some of those Slack messages is they got out before some of these people had their depositions. So I don't know. I guess that's part of the reason why they're having to sing, because we have the Uber Global Safety Communications Director, global for Uber. And he is singing. He said they trashed rape victims. He said an internal messages revealed in federal court indicate Uber executives have known for a decade about the company's rampant sexual assault problem and encouraged employees to silence victims. So I have had it put to me of, well, what do you think the solution is? Because we are independent contractors. So, I mean, what is Uber supposed to do? Well, one thing for sure that we know that is coming out of this is that many of these people have had multiple complaints by other passengers that they are like, this person tried to assault me, or this person, and then Uber did not move them off the platform. They didn't care. So that alone was enough to launch the federal investigation. That's why it's going to be now lawsuits all over. That's why when I put up the chart, I think it was last week, and we were showing, like, where the fear and where the hope was with the Uber stock. That's why the biggest fear this year is the legal expenses.
Right.
It always is a legal expense problem, but this year is going to be bad.
This is one of those reasons they had to set all that money aside right here, this trial that's coming up. And, this clown to say, and I'm going to call this guy a clown, I'm calling it for what it is, to say it was a poor choice of words. That's exactly how you felt. You just got caught.
Yeah. Yeah. And nothing against this. I just don't believe it. To me, it's like, it's like the equivalent, and I know it's going to sound over the top, but it's like not being religious, killing somebody, and then being born again.
Right.
It's like, man, you still killed somebody. I'm sorry. Like you did.
Right.
But I mean, he's quoted, his name is Andrew, or is it Andrew or Andu?
And
it looks like it's Andu. Maybe I thought yeah, it is. It's Andu, no R. Andu Hashbun. And
Hashbun.
Yeah, he's said peddling lies is a quote. Here's a quote of his: in many cases, we can and should squash stories. This is from 2018.
Yeah, kill stories when possible, and mitigate the impact on our reputation. Wow.
Yeah. Again, now this is 2018, and a lot of people will say, well, what are they supposed to do? Even you've said we're independent contractors. Shouldn't this be on the driver? It is on the driver, but it's also, Uber calls itself a tech company. I call it a switch company. Correct. It's nothing more than it's just throwing offers out to all of us. That's why I said we'll get to the liquor, but even Uber Connect is launched 8 times and had the plug pulled on it because 90% of its use is drug dealing.
Right.
And they've proven that. So again, this is why I say, are you I don't mind doing courier for Curry. I know how their insurance works. I know how I'm covered from pickup to drop off with whatever's in that box. I understand this. If I didn't have the Curry app, I would have to, or some of the other apps that I might do B2B, I would have to go out and get courier insurance to make sure I'm covered and bonded for whatever people are handing me and I'm taking to places. But like with Uber Connect, we know we have people that we know have done this. They pull up to somebody's house, somebody throws 7 boxes in the back of their trunk, and you have to go to the post office and you have to sign your name that there's no liquids, perishables, or explosives in those boxes. You don't know.
Right. You're taking ownership for an unknown package.
Yeah. I mean, it's just sad, you know, and it's this is a quote from this guy as well. I trashed rape victims to USA Today, he wrote, referring to a 2019 story that revealed Uber shared victims' personal information with third-party claim adjusters without the women's knowledge.
Right.
And that's huge to me, because even the terms of service protects that one thing. It doesn't do much for us drivers, but it does protect exactly that. And they're saying, no, we were here.
Right.
Like you can't do that, by the way. Like we're not on all of us aren't on levels where we have to deal with this, but you can't do that. You can't be sharing stuff with a claims adjuster who might have to determine something on that case before you have sign-offs from lawyers and other things. You can't just be under the table going, what's up with this?
Right.
And I feel like that's what they were doing, you know, I mean, even by their own admission.
Right. Exactly. I mean, this is where I don't know how much they're asking for or what they're anticipating asking for, but holy smoke. I mean, I believe it's more than just about the money in this case. They really are trying to make some changes with it. And yeah,
I mean, this is a federal investigation, and these people are giving testimonies under oath that, I mean, I would hate to be this guy, because for life, like, yeah, he can probably go out and get another scumbag's like job with a corporation that will overlook this. But his family, his people that know him, his name is out there in the news everywhere, and he's scum.
That was the comparison I was just ready to make. The whole Coldplay thing with that CEO with his mistress out there. That's nothing in comparison. This is real world, you know, damage to lots of people, you know, including the whole industry. And that's why we're talking about it, Steve, because it makes, you know, all the good drivers that we have on here, you, me, and everybody else, it makes us all look like shit because of this clown degrading the industry even further than it already is.
Yeah. I mean, he says, and I love this quote. I think this is the one that bothered me. This was the part where I was like, oh, you're trying to be like born again. Like I've seen what I did wrong. Like he says, right. This is a quote. I used to look after my soul, but I don't know where it is anymore. That's a quote from the guy.
I know. I saw that. I was like, what? This guy needs
dude, are you saying that to a federal court? You said that in federal court.
The guy's got the money. He needs to hire a PR rep, okay? Because he shouldn't even freaking talk without somebody.
I'm sure, but that's the thing, Sean. You know this too. I'm sure he has I'm sure he has 10 PR reps.
Oh, of course he does. And this is the best thing. That's the bad thing.
Before going into there, this is the best he did after all sessions of How to Lie.
Right. After all this gets washed out, this is the best they could come up with. Holy crap.
And it's definitely a case of Uber is definitely picking who's getting thrown under the bus on this one. And it's the problem is it's going to be a lot of people, but they're definitely going, well, you were high ranking, you're gone.
But this dude deserves to be thrown under the bus.
But yeah, but doesn't it make you, we all know about Uber. Doesn't it make you question, like, dude, of course he does, but I guarantee you there's 100 more of him that haven't been yet.
Well, I mean, that happens in any big corporation, to be honest with you, and particularly when you're trying to.
But when we're dealing with SA, sexual assault, like that, I'm sorry, everybody involved now. This is why RICO case is being built in Henderson, Nevada. I'm sure it involves this. They were looking for years to clamp onto a RICO. It just happened to be Henderson with the fake restaurants. The reason they're doing that is because if they find the angle to get the RICO passed, it gives them full access to algorithms, books, everything. They kind of are allowed to be in the company every day, looking at everything they're doing.
Right. Well, and then if they can further support that this was done to increase profits and to protect the stakeholders, then the SEC can get involved, and then they can start driving other audits that go on and that evaluation of their algorithm and everything else. So this
which
could
brings
be
the FTC involved, which affects your stock.
Right.
The three-letter agencies that could get
soup.
involved. The three.
Right.
I mean, this could go to FBI, CIA. I know it sounds crazy to some, but I'm telling you, we're dealing with sexual assault of 6,000 or more people, and some of them tremendous horror stories too. And all of these years, and now they've just kind of been like, well, that's not, and now it's fallen on them, and they're like, oh,
right,
yeah, like.
All the three-letter agencies will be involved in the suit.
I mean, I'm trying to think of ones that couldn't be. I'm sure there are some, but I mean, like,
I don't know. Maybe the FDA. No,
I mean, you potentially even have like things like the SEIU getting involved.
Oh no, I mean, because when they start deep diving into it, then you look into human trafficking.
This could be an all-out war. And I'm telling you, the mitigated risk, when we looked at that chart about legal fees this year, that's it. Right now, it isn't if you remember the big thing last year, and it's still a thing, is the investor saying, hey, can these people make a living wage doing these apps, since we know that robot technology, autonomous, is not here and won't be for a long time on a level where it could make us money. And that was the big deal, the push to know, are we making a living wage, or is it even attainable? So because they don't want to be invested if it's not, because they know the robots were alive. But or at least the timeline was a major lie, because we don't have a timeline. But this could be the messiest thing ever. You find a way to bring Uber into this, and they're gonna really have some huge problems.
Well, the bad thing is,
in one message, a coworker mentioned that an in-house attorney had been on vacation, and then this guy, Hasbun, says, "quote unquote," while the rest of us are peddling lies and cleaning up their mess. I mean, what a way to like go, hey man, the attorneys weren't around, we didn't know what to say. I don't know.
I was acting like an asshole, and the attorney wasn't there to correct me. What?
Yeah, let me just put it this way. If it was my first minute at Uber on the first level call, and the attorneys that's supposed to be in the office wasn't there, who's supposed to deal with stuff, and somebody's like, I just got sexually assaulted, I wouldn't be like, well, the attorneys aren't here today, so good luck.
Please leave a message at the tone.
I would definitely, even if I had to quit, that would be handled. I would be like, wait, what? I'm out of here, dude. I'm not going to deal with this crap.
Right.
So I guess what I'm saying is the environment over at Uber for many years has been hide it, bury it, kill it, like we've been talking about. And that's why I meant it could involve so many people. Anybody that's been there for years is involved in this.
Well, it's once you start peeling that onion back, then you go, wait, here's all these other layers we got to get to.
Right. It's kind of, I see it as how little a fish do they want to catch in this net? Because they can go all the way down to entry level kind of thing.
Yep.
But yeah, he was, I don't know. I was trying to see what else in this report, because I mean, I honestly think that the CNN reporters and this is CNN's horrible at doing news.
Right.
CNN found that at least 103 Uber drivers had been accused of sexually assaulting their passengers in the previous 4 years. When you hear this number and you're thinking, yeah, but you're talking about 6,000 rape cases and how many drivers, you got to remember that we're not seeing the full breakdown here. CNN might have only done a profile on 500 drivers involved in these, and then said, 103 of them were previously accused.
Well, and even if you look at the report that we keep referring to that says in 2019, Uber revealed that it received 5,900 481 reports of sexual assault,
Mhm.
and then 464 reports of rape in 2017. So, and those are the ones that are reported. Again, we know that sometimes it's really hard to get victims to come forward on these things, and then we get the false reporting people. That's a whole different category. But I think that's at least got to be a legitimate number, because there's reports that didn't get reported too.
Well, and that's, I think the main thing that really made me, because I've been talking about this and seeing these stories, but hearing this guy this week, like here's the trial starting, and right out of the gate, the first day, they're just being torn apart. But one thing that caught my eye is when you see the term, because they don't throw this out when any company is suing about something, even on a federal level. They do it when they know an actual outcome will come that is going to
Correct.
define the industry a little better, is the word bellwether. Really, like, even reporters don't just throw that lingo out wildly.
Yep.
And they're saying that, this Judge Charles Breyer, the first 20 so-called bellwether cases, that doesn't mean that if all 20 Uber won, they still wouldn't go on, because now the wall came down and all these 6,000 can go to town on Uber. And should, and 6,000 plus, because I mean, like Sean said, that was 2017, 2018, and then they said the numbers grew from there. Now there are 3,000 federal cases.
Right. Now, the other interesting thing back to this direct case, and I didn't pick this up before, but I was reading through this again, says Uber fired Ture, who was allegedly the driver, for breaking the company's policy against sex with passengers. So that's an admittance by Uber that they had knowledge of this conduct. Whether you get into the whole consensual. So that's where their culpability lies, right there. Like, oh yeah, we realize they did that. So
Sean,
this is a mess, man.
You might, I'm sure you do remember this, because I don't think that they've done it since the pandemic, but if you remember going back to when you first were on Uber kind of thing, like, you would never get any training videos. And I used to talk about that in the very beginning of the podcast. They can't teach us because we're independent contractors. They can't tell us how to do the job.
You can't.
They try to through the app. They try to still do that, but they can't provide stuff. One thing they did provide in the 2017, 18, 19 era, right around these dates, was a rain sequence of 7 videos. And you had to watch them to go to you had to watch video 1, then watch and answer questions video 2.
Yep.
It was the first time Uber ever put something in the app that said, you have to watch these before you can go online. Like that. I mean, I'd been on it for years when they did this, and I was like, what is this? And it was all rape prevention and how not to, don't touch your clients. Don't play with their nipples.
Don't have inappropriate conversations. Right.
I was kind of blown away, because I'm like, we're independent contractors. You're not supposed to be doing this.
Right.
I guess on that one, I kind of gave them a pass, because I was like, if it helps, but I don't think it helped anybody.
Well, when they go to the enable to be able to work, you have to do this. That's, again, another boundary that they cross, different subject for a different day. But yeah, it used to just be kind of get out there and drive and go make money. And then all of a sudden they impose these other things.
Yeah. Sue used to do rideshare, and she's saying that that's why she stopped getting hit on, blah, blah, blah. I remember 2017, I think it was, or 2016, maybe. It was still maybe the last screams of Travis Kalanick still at the helm. And and one of my friends who was doing rideshare, who's very good looking, lives here in Denver. She dressed up as I can't think of the name of the character with the baseball bat. It's like a Marvel
Harley Quinn.
Thank you. She dressed up as a very sexy Harley Quinn, and she's a bartender in town. Bartenders get hit on all the time. They know how to deal with this stuff. She had one of the worst nights of her life. Like, it was really taken way too far. People were getting, she even told me she was making good money with some. She was making she was getting attacked by others.
Right. Yeah, look, it's unfortunate, but look, there's a whole lot of men that have boundary issues. Let's just face it.
Yeah.
I mean, Steve, you've been in the bar industry long enough. You know that. You've seen enough of
Oh
that.
yeah. Yeah.
I understand the purpose of wanting to do the women for women drive or women not wanting to drive. I mean, I've had passengers that are females. They're like, I'm thinking about doing Uber and Lyft and stuff. I said, I'm sorry, the dad in me is coming out right now. I would not recommend it.
Yeah.
And it's awful because it is a gender bias, but I also know how there's a whole bunch of men that have boundary issues. So,
Yeah.
and there's some women like that too, especially if you get some alcohol in them.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, don't. That's why I said I'm sure maybe there's some men. I don't know how to make that claim, but I can at least say even if they weren't sexually assaulted, they were verbally sexually. They're verbal. Absolutely,
Oh,
men get it just as bad as
I
women.
abso-freaking-lutely. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
But then so real quick while we're on this subject, I did want to show this too since Sean brought up the women. Um, this is a woman requesting a woman rideshare ride,
Are you
and
going to show the price difference?
it's right there. So what I'm saying is
Yeah.
Uber contacted them and said, we don't have so they have the feature in some markets, but they said, we don't have a woman for you for 11 minutes. Would you like to switch drivers? I think, okay, it's okay that if everything is in there, that's in there, except for the part that says new price. And I don't care if it was $100 difference. There should be no new
Right.
price if they're prompting you with this. But one thing that was noted here, and it might not be for the reason, but it's definitely going to get used against them, is it went up 5 cents if you chose, yes, I will do that and take a man.
Yeah.
I know it's only 5 cents. I'm just pointing out that's the reason they shouldn't do it because.
And how many rides does Uber do during a day? And we'll say 60% of those are females.
Yeah.
Or we'll just say 50%. That's a lot of money.
Oh, I can't. What is it? 80 billion a year rides,
right,
or something ridiculous. So I mean,
right. So
it's
let's just even say 30 billion at 5 cents.
Yeah, but the other thing would be to say it's not always going to be 5 cents. That's just one capture. Sometimes I guarantee you, sometimes it's like $5 more.
Right.
And I'm sure sometimes it's the same. My point is like if the person already committed, locked in, said woman driver, this is what I want, and you're going to suggest man, even if it's surging and the price is now changed, you have to offer that for free.
Right.
That just has to be a converge that you're gonna.
Yeah, it's got to be a wash.
Yeah.
And we got.
And then I wanted to show this to you, Sean, because you've been doing rideshare for a while, and and I've been seeing this in a lot of offices lately, and I've seen these my whole life. What I didn't notice was this bottom part here that says comfort and or emotional support animals are not service animals and not recognized by the ADA. That does mean, folks, that we do not need to drive service animals. The problem becomes, how do you find out?
Wait, you misspoke a little bit. You said we don't need to ride service animals. We do have to take service animals, but we don't have to take. But I wasn't trying to correct you but to correct you from an educational standpoint, so everybody knows. Service animals, yes, but emotional support animals, no.
But for years, I got conned on that because I was told, well, emotional, even by not just the passenger. I don't go on that word. I was looking things up, and emotional support was listed as a. But the problem is that the emotional support animals are not trained as the other ones are. I mean, I remember growing up, I maybe it wasn't all of them, but most service dogs had like like an orange vest over them.
Right.
And I'm sure they had some kind of documentation. I mean, like, I think Jason Thierry on Monday had said, like, why don't they just have a license for them? Yeah, I don't know, because an emotional support animal doesn't have that training. And by the training, I mean, they know to sit in one spot and not to move. They know to not get all over your car. And emotional support might piss on it, puke on it, whatever.
Right. So yeah, and typically service trained animals that are going to perform a task, and that's the key to it. And then there's only two animals that are qualified to be a service animal. That's a canine, aka a dog, and a horse. Now I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be a little pissed off the first time I got to shove a miniature pony in my Kona, but we'll see what we got to do.
So wait a minute. Vest and harness usually for but they're not. There's nothing in the law that requires anything. And in fact, it says we can't ask.
Well, no, you can ask what is the service they provide? Perform.
Okay.
Right. What is the task they perform? We can ask that. The interesting thing, and I don't know if I should say this, but there's not a standard there's no requirements for service animals even. And this is where ADA is really freaking broke. And it hurts everything all around. But generally speaking, if you have an animal that has performing a specific task, it's gone through a canine good citizen, it's gone through all of its task training, and like you said, Steve, they're typically trained to stay on the floor of a vehicle rather than jump up and and all that.
I mean, there's many reasons I don't like doing it. I have my own dog, so I don't like dogs in my car, but I have taken service animals. I have also taken, in pre-pandemic, I have taken a handful of service. You'd be surprised how many emotional support ones. Because here's an example. If Sean were to be allowed to ask what is the service they perform, what if I got in with an emotional support Lhasa Apso, right? Like a little tiny dog in my arm, and this is emotional support crap. So here I am, and I get in your car with it, and you're like, what's the service it performs? It helps my sanity. How do you treat that? I answered you.
I've actually had that. And I do pet rides also. So I have a different, view on it. I have a blanket that I get out. I do two things on the pet rides real quick, guys. If you're going to do pet rides, do two things. Have a blanket to put down and a lint roller, one of the lint rollers, because you can clean it up in 30 seconds. You're back onto your next ride. So you're not losing a whole lot on it. You're not gaining much either, because they end up taking that away from you. You're not getting that $4 that they charge the passenger. But the other thing is, I get out and I greet the dog, because I want to size up that animal beforehand and see how it's going to behave, because I got some kind of crazy four-legged thing with some really nasty teeth sitting behind me. So I want to size up that dog and kind of see how it's going to respond to me.
Right.
Just a little bit of background, Steve, I was with Search and Rescue, but what you probably don't know is I was one of our canine trainers also.
Okay.
The canine good citizen evaluator. So we did evaluations for the canines and things. So I have a little, you didn't expect this, but I have a little bit of expertise that on this subject that that just ad hoc kind of came up with it. So that's what I would recommend. Just like Brian says, he has moving blankets that he uses for pet rides.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing too, I would be a little, people need to think about is the dog wet too? And I know, again, if it's service animal, it's service animal. But I mean, a wet dog will change your day in your car. Trust me.
Yep. I shut it off whenever it snows and rains. I shut off taking pet rides. So good point, Steve.
I mean, I have it off anyway, but if it's a service animal, you have to, even if it's wet.
You have to take them.
You have to. So yeah, another reason why Brian's is a great idea, and actually like a moving blanket would be best, because you don't want a blanket to soak through and get to your seat, especially if you don't have leather seats or something and you can't clean it real easy or whatever, you got cloth or for whatever reason. That's about all I'll say on it.
No, I think I'm going to take Brian's idea, because I have a nice horse blanket that I use, and I kind of really don't want to get destroyed, but they're so heavy duty that I can throw it in there and wash it and get and go. But I like that. I like that tip, Brian.
Yeah. And there's, you guys, I'm going to put the links for some of the stories we go through, because I want to move on here, but there's a lot more to this. This obviously this sex case, and we'll be constantly talking about it as updates happen.
Following this as it goes,
because the next few weeks, especially like I said, bellwether, A lot's going to be told, and we won't even have distinctive maybe decision. We might on some, but we might not. But I think we'll be able to see where it's going. How are these cases? Have the judges been drooling for these? Are they just waiting? And they're going to be like, done. You're on board. You're accountable, Uber. Because if that starts happening, it's going to be, you're going to see the stock plummeting. And the first place they'll take it out of, we all know, the drivers, but it won't be enough this time. Reducing driver pay won't be able to take care of the problems.
Right.
They're in a very bad position. But I did want to go through this Maine thing. I've had two different live streams. I've tried to get through it and I haven't. It's not that long, so I'm just gonna read through it because I think they're trying to do what Seattle's doing. But there was one line in here that threw me a bit. Let's see if I can remember what it was. But state lawmakers there's a proposal out there. And I've looked into it. It's most likely this is the kind of bad legislation. Oh, and it's a perfect time for me to say this. In February, I will be moving into phase 2 and keeping going with phase 1 to submit your state legislation for transparency. It's a step in the right direction. We have been writing them for different states. We've got like 8 out there. That's why I said phase 2 for the submitted states, and we can get the rest submitted because you don't want legislation like what I'm about to talk about here. But state lawmakers are considering a proposal that would add Maine to growing list of states and cities that set minimum rates for rideshare drivers. Now they're doing something a little different because I always say don't set a dollar amount because then you're tied to it and that can really screw with the law. But and I'm not for this, but the proposal would mandate the drivers working for transportation network companies such as Uber and Lyft receive a minimum rate per trip based on minutes and miles driven. That's the old taxi model. So it's not like a new idea, but the bill's sponsor is Representative Eleanor Sato. And she said the goal is to start the conversation about fair compensation for Uber and Lyft drivers in rural places like Maine. TNC's Transportation Network Company drivers are gig workers who do not answer to a person, but to an app that is run by multi-billion-dollar tech company out of Silicon Valley. She said during a public hearing last week. She also said that the bill is modeled after a law passed 4 years ago in Washington state, but local lobbyists representing the rideshare companies told state lawmakers they believe that riders ultimately pay the price. While this proposal is framed as a benefit to drivers, its rigid trip-level mandate ignores the complex mechanics of two-sided transportation network marketplaces, says James Coate, an attorney for Uber. If enacted, this bill will decrease efficiency, eliminate transparency features like upfront pricing, and ultimately reduce the very earning opportunities that it seeks to protect. This is one of those rare occasions that even though I don't think that was worded properly, I can agree with the Uber attorney that you will make less if you push this.
Yep.
Bottom line. I hate having to agree with, because I don't agree with his wording, and I think he's trying to use very, like confusing language, like legalese. He's trying to use some legal language a little bit and twist it so that you get a little confused and go, what's he saying?
This is the problem when you have legislators that have no freaking clue. They have the right intentions, but they have no freaking clue about how this business works. And that's it's like with the safety law that they tried to pass here in Colorado. The intentions were good, but it was a complete failure, never going to pass. Well, it passed, but it got vetoed by the governor, but it would have never worked in this industry because of the way that it was written. And this is another example of it. I'm with you, Steve. I mean, I like being an independent contractor. I don't like some of those restraints, and this would put a lot of restraints on us.
I think that's a perfect segue too, actually, to what we had talked about you talking about a little bit of safety tonight, because what you guys should know about we've had a lot happen here in Colorado, but the proposal that was shot down that Sean's referring to was basically that Uber and Lyft were going to have to keep their own dash cam, like basically property of Uber in your car. And that dash cam would upload to the cloud and Uber would have to keep the footage. My problem was I don't want Uber. Like, Uber screws everything up. I don't want them, if I do get put on the hook for something, I don't want them calling for Uber's footage, and Uber's footage angle didn't catch the actual reality. So we use our own dash cams and screw Uber. And I think Sean has something to say on that.
That's exactly it. I mean, this is actually my dash cam. I spent $60 on it. But the nice thing is that little SD card sitting in there, I control the data. And that's one big issue that I had with it. I didn't get any responses from legislators last time whenever this was going through, because I do think that there's some opportunity for that bill that would improve safety for both riders and drivers. But okay, Uber doesn't trust me to have the data. I don't trust Uber to have the data, or Lyft, or hop, skip, drive, whatever. I mean, what am I going to do? Am I going to have 4 dash cams because I drive for Uber, I drive for Lyft, I drive for Hop, Skip, Drive, I drive for Colorado Drivers Co-op? So am I going to have 4 freaking dash cams? No, you have to have a third party that's managing that data. And, Uber can pay for it up front. I'm going to pay for it. You're going to pay for it. And the passengers are going to pay for it on the back end. But it needs to be managed by an independent third party and only utilized during an investigation. And that means if there's a subpoena or other law enforcement requirements that would say, hey, I need to review this data. But otherwise, Uber's going to use it for nefarious purposes.
Well,
Period.
also,
Lyft, all of them.
You're going to end up with the same problem, which will move us into illegal booze, because you're going to end up with the same problem. People are going to see, oh, I'm being sent an Uber camera to protect me. I'm good now because I have the Uber camera. I can guarantee you there would have been many cases where they're like, the state says we need this footage from this state, and either it's corrupt, they can't find it, whatever. Not only is it wrong, it's gone.
Right. It would fall into a black hole of legal hold notices. Okay, I can send a legal hold, but then it go in front of a judge for a motions hearing, saying, well, we want to suppress this evidence, and blah, 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 and so on and so forth. And if they have complete control of it, then nobody's ever going to get the opportunity to see that from an unbiased 100%, situation.
100%. And that kind of moves us into this alcohol delivery. I've talked about it many times, but what I've been doing, like I said in the beginning, is moving it to each state. We haven't talked about Colorado yet. So I want to read you guys something. I just want you to know this. And this is from the state of Colorado website. So not only does this back what I've been telling you about being in the industry, but let's go forward here. So Colorado delivery drivers, so specifically, need responsible alcohol vendor training. That's called RAV in Colorado, TIPS that I've talked about before, TIPS certification, or e-food handlers. I would say TIPS. That's what employers use. That's what people count on. I don't know much about e-food handlers other than I think they were meant for the gig apps to kind of push you through quicker. But just regardless, you still got to have one or the other. You have to. But to understand, you have to do this because you have to understand ID checks, intoxication signs, liability, especially for delivery from on-premise restaurants or bars or liquor stores with special permits. The liquor stores now I'm talking to the merchants, don't have a special permit from DoorDash to even be doing it in the first place. So you're talking about the merchant getting sued if the driver for DoorDash, but I guess it would depend on the depth of a case, because they'll come after the driver first. But lawyers know to go for the money. If the driver doesn't have anything, they're going to end his life kind of thing and have him in debt for the rest of his life. But they will go down that line and get the merchant too. And the merchants don't know this either. They think the same as us, guys. It's not like we're stupid. I'm just saying that we all kind of have this idea like, oh, look at the new service Uber put up. No, that was called Drizzly, and they bought them out, and they own the license to be able to use them on DoorDash and Uber Eats and stuff. The Drizzly was bought, I think it was bought out for 1.4 billion or something. And that was like 4 years ago. Like they had been around for like a month, and somebody was like, we got to buy that. What were you buying? You weren't even buying something that did it correctly, because now here we go with So by doing these certifications, you have to do them every year. But the key training and certification types, so TIPS is training for intervention procedures, while widely recognized, focuses on recognizing intoxication, fake IDs, and online options. And then there's some other things about seller courses for if you're in restaurant. There's responsible vendor program, which the businesses
Right.
are supposed to have. And then what do you need to do? So here's the part that everybody needs to hear. Check with your employer. So if we can't do that. That's out. This is if you're with a bar or something. Most importantly, see if your employer requires specific tips. The reason that tips is required in Colorado, like by bars and stuff, is because it reduces your overall insurance that you have to carry if your people are tip certified. If they're not, it goes up. But understand delivery rules. So for on-premise restaurant bar delivery, ensure you're familiar with the Colorado Department of Revenue's rules for takeout and delivery permit, DR 8496. Now, get certified. This is the part everybody needs to listen to right here. Take an approved online course if needed, focusing on responsibilities, serving practices, and ID verification. Apps such as DoorDash and others are not authorized to provide Colorado responsible vendor delivery licenses. That language right there tells you don't have what you need. Period. Unless you've gone out, unless you've gone to the Mayor Wellington Webb building downtown and you've gone to excise and license and you've gotten your tip certification and you have it, you are not legal to deliver alcohol. Period.
Right.
End of story. So in summary, get certified through a recognized program like TIPS or whatever in your state. Looked up geezers, you need something. Looked up Colorado, you need something. Looked up Michigan, you need it. Jason Thierry was on Monday. He actually has it because of a job where he works in the summer at an outdoor venue and needs the tip certification. So that
I was just going to say, well, we're on, I mean, this is all about gig economy and we talk about extra ways to make a little bit of money, get tip certified. And there's opportunities out there to go be a bartender. You don't have to learn how to mix drinks at wedding venues and things like that. You just need to know how to pour a little bit of wine, pop a beer. And there's opportunity right there for you guys too, in extension to protecting yourself with your alcohol deliveries.
I'll go one up on you because I've worked Red Rocks a few times, right? I've been to Red Rocks hundreds of times, but I worked it. So I've worked it from a production point, but I can tell you this, if you young dashers out there and stuff like under 30, I could do it too. I mean, I hike 14ers and stuff, but like if you young dashers who got like iron thighs want to make $300 a concert, believe it or not, be one of the people that takes the beer through the crowd.
Right. Or even Fiddler's Green.
$300 per night on a sold out concert at Red Rocks.
Yeah.
People
I mean, there's a lot about
not having to go out of the park to get the booze and bring it back.
Right.
So I'm just saying that's another, you need to be tip certified.
Right.
So
but there's a lot about it because a lot of municipalities, in order for them to issue a liquor license or even a vendor, an event liquor license, they require that anybody who's doing the serving is, even if it's just a beer tent, that they be tip certified. So,
right. Yeah, we have two other stories here that I don't think we'll get to when everybody becomes a gig worker. I found it a very interesting article and I will post it below because I think you guys should read it because it's happening.
Right.
It's a weird article that you can read that you'll vibe with for sure. You'll get it and you'll see it from a different standpoint than last year on why we're being invaded and oversaturated again. But one thing that I guess as we walk out of here that I saw Sergio and Chris talked about this on Wednesday or Tuesday on Show Me the Money Club, but I want to do at least hit on it too because Chris and Sergio were talking about some good points about this. There are people, and this has been going on for a while, but now this is a big thing. People are onboarding 2 apps, never working them a day. It used to be onboard, work it for a while. This ain't working out for me, and then they might rent it out. And it was a friend or family member. Now people are onboarding to them, never working a day in their life, not even uploading their picture, and giving you the blank canvas to go out there and work the app for them. And they rent it to you. But guess what, guys? Every one of those people won't make a dime, and they're putting themselves in an extremely screwed position. Anything goes wrong, their ass is toast. And all the earnings that driver makes, they're going to have to claim.
Yep, that's taxable income for you.
Because if they're thinking like, dude, this other guy will just pay the taxes too. Did you get that in writing? Because I'm sure you didn't, because that'd be illegal, because you're already breaking the law.
Right.
So, I mean, that would just be null and void. It wouldn't matter. But I guess my point is like, if anybody out there is like, man, I'm sick of doing this. I've been seeing these articles. I think I might try. I think most know, but don't do it. Do not do it.
I had somebody make that comment to me, and that was the exact conversation. I had this dad moment with them going, okay, well, but here's the potential consequences.
Yeah. I mean, that's something where you need to, again, this is where you need to open up your own rideshare or limousine company or private for hire ride company kind of thing. And then you would learn all the financial responsibility and the insurance costs. And I'm going to have this guy be a freelance driver, and you might have your insurance come back and go, oh, we need them to be W-2s, or we're not going to play ball with you. There's a lot of things that come with that. And that's why you see like a hop, skip, drive that can drive kids. We've seen 100 of those around the years open up all over the country and do really well, like be completely booked. They can't take on new clients, but they can't afford the insurance. That's what happens every time.
Right.
They all go out of business. There's none left except for hop, skip, drive. I don't even know if hop, skip, drive makes a profit. I'm sure they make something, but I'm saying they're the only ones that have made it through all this.
Right.
And those are all W-2 employees who are trained to be just like a bus driver, to be able to drive kids and whatnot.
Yep.
But there was something else I was going to add to that too about the I actually got into this with somebody this week where I didn't know this, or I didn't think about it, I guess. When you receive medical benefits, what is it when they're state paid? I'm drawing a blank.
Medicaid?
Yeah, I'm sorry. So when if you're drawing Medicaid, nothing wrong with it, but I need to tell you guys this. If you're drawing Medicaid, you can't make over $2,800 a month. Is it a month? I think it's a month.
I think it depends on the jurisdiction.
Well, this is mine, basically.
Okay, so Denver.
Denver proper.
Denver, right. Yeah. Okay.
So anyway, it's $2,800. If you make over that, you can't be on Medicaid, and they do check every 6 months. This is what I was told by the person, is that I said, but do they check every month to see, did you go over 28? They're like, no, but they check by year. Every 6 months, they make you show all of your pay. And is it 2,800 times 6? Did you go over that?
Right. So they're auditing it. Yeah.
So but here's my point. That's one thing as it is. And that applies to anybody, or even a W-2, whatever. But my point is that Uber, when you're doing those numbers, it's not what you earned.
Right.
It's what Uber took in. Remember, guys, when you get your tax forms, even though you might have figured out your system on how you pay them, and that's all good. So you don't really care about it. But these are the kind of times where that is looked at, where they go, wait a minute, no, you made 3 times what you said, or twice what you said. Well, no, that other part's Uber's cuts. Yeah, but you need to show it, even though you didn't intake it, you need to show it as earnings, even though it was never your earnings.
Right. So that's 70 cents a mile that you get for your IRS deduction.
Yeah. So I get, my guess is like by 2,800, let's just call it half, because we know 50/50 is a pretty common. I mean, it can even be worse, but on Uber, 50/50 is like common. It's very common.
That's pretty common and
And
pretty
that's
good.
that's being nice. Yeah. But let's
Right.
say that at 50/50, just imagine it this way. So 2,800 now becomes, did you make more than 1,400?
Right.
Basically. I mean, you need to look at it, but I'm just kind of trying to put it out there as,
Yep.
now you can't even get your medical insurance on Medicaid if you do need to do that for whatever reason, unless you're earning probably less than half of whatever the marker in your zone is.
Right. Wow.
I just found out about it. I really had never even thought about it in that terms. Like, I just thought, well, yeah, but it's 2,800 across the board. Like it or not, at least that's fair. Now I'm thinking, man, I forgot about the fact that you're going to have to claim Uber's money.
Right. That's it. Oh, that's interesting.
Because they don't care about the net or gross.
Because they want your gross.
Right.
Yeah.
They want to know. Yeah, they want to know the gross. You know, or the net. The gross.
Well, if they want the net, then you're okay. The gross.
Right. No, they want the gross. They don't want anything. You have to show them the gross.
Well, okay, fair enough. You just show them everything, and then they go, "Oh, you make too much."
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, if you made
half of your earnings,
if you made $2,500 in Denver, and you're like, sweet, I'm good. My guess is you're not going to be good.
Right.
If your take was 2,500, you're not going to be able to keep your Medicare, and you're going to. And that's why I put it out there. Don't be shocked, because that's why you'd lose it.
Right.
I don't know. I had never thought about it until it was brought up to me this week in those terms. Like, you know, I'm one of those people who's gotten the pattern of the first couple of years you see it, you're like, wait, what? Why do I got to do the taxes this way? Or why does this look the way it does? Oh, never mind. You get in the flow and you're like, it doesn't matter. Well, this is one of those cases that actually would matter. So just be careful, know your stuff, you know. And Sean, is your handle is
CO Ride Guy.
Yeah,
CO Ride Guy.
Yeah, if anybody went over to Sean's channel and you're in my live chat right now, can you post a link to his channel so that please, so that anybody can go over there and sub? Because like I said, he's gonna be doing some content too. We got him again next week. And as we wind it down here, I'm looking to see if anybody had any questions. But it looks like sometimes you guys all talk amongst yourselves, and that's fine. But we are here on to talk about this stuff too. So I see Brian had said at one point, I wanted to go back to this because Brian Kern had said something I wanted to bring up, which was
sorry, I can't type, guys. I put my handle in there. In the chat.
When we were talking about sexual assault, I wanted to bring this up because he brought up a good point. He said, how many go unreported? Also, how many are fake?
Right.
Great point.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, we know, there's a lot of fake ones, but we also know there's a lot of victims that don't. So at a minimum, I think there's at least an offset from the fake reports that there's at least that many legitimate reports that don't get filed. So I think still, when you balance all those out, there's still a lot more that don't get reported with it.
Yeah, I agree. You guys, do I have it here? Oh, there was one other thing too. So by the way, or two other things real quick. So we do on Monday, I do have Nova Hustles. Nova Hustles used to be Nova Dash. You guys all know that. He took away the dash part because DoorDash, he had 25,000 deliveries on DoorDash plus. I've known Nova for a long time. His name's Marco. He had over 25,000 deliveries when he was deactivated. So he changed it to Nova Hustles from Nova, from having anything to do with Dash in his name.
With Dash.
Yeah, but now he's back on Dash. He was one of the people that was invited and went to the round table, as they called it, and stole from us at DoorDash headquarters. So he's on Monday, and we're going to talk. The other thing I wanted to mention, look, I don't watch a lot of content creators, so I had to pull this, and I'm not Mushi. I don't know you. You've been around a while, seem like a nice guy. I don't know you. I've never talked to you in my life, but I saw this today and it really aggravated me. And I need to show you guys this. This isn't, I'm putting it out there because I'm expecting other content creators to do this as well. So I think I picked, sorry, Mushi, that I had to pick you, bro, but you're doing the solidarity hand. And what you're doing is you're very much steering people into something that is completely bullshit. You cannot strike as an independent contractor. You can't. There is no striking. It's called taking a day off. Now, if you're doing it in solidarity,
here's what I was thinking.
Here's what I'm going to tell you. We've experienced this on Instacart, Rideshare, all of them before. This has been tried a million times. You can't strike. Yep. And what the companies learn on these days is they don't even suffer a blip, not even a second hiccup. It just means the people working the apps might have more orders, but in all honesty, I think it causes more drivers to get on the app.
Right. How many times they tried that on Valentine's Day? It failed miserably.
And that's my point. When, here it is in solidarity. And that's, again, Mushi, come on, man. You have, I didn't even look, but I believe you have around 50,000 subs. Come on, bro.
Mushi, do better, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Do better. Honesty is going to be required this year. I'm going to call people out on bullshit. And I'm not calling out Mushi directly. I guess I'm just putting out my first, that's bullshit. So don't be somebody, if you're doing it for clickbait, okay, maybe we recognize you as a clickbait channel, whatever. I didn't ever think of him as a clickbait channel.
Right.
You probably could think of it about any channel that way, but I always did feel like the few times I've seen him, I felt like he had a bit of an audience and he had a bit of his own vibe. So I chose that one because I saw it and I was like, dude, and I saw the solidarity hand and I hate that. And I'm not saying standing in solidarity is a bad thing. He's making it look and sound like it's real, and it's not. It is not real.
But guess what? He won, man, because you just gave him an extra bump right there. So,
well, and that's fine. Like I said, I've never met the guy. I don't know him. I know a lot of the creators. I've never even talked to Mushi. I just had to call it out, dude. I can't.
No, and that's completely appropriate. I mean, that's why we have these different groups and different podcasts. There's podcasts I wouldn't go on. I'm proud to join yours at time. And, looks like Brian, he's been on DoorDash strike since April.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I mean, a lot of people.
He's standing in solidarity, really strong.
Yeah. Yeah. And what's happened for Brian? He's earned by being on strike. He's earning more on other apps.
On other apps, right.
And working less. So he's actually learned, wow, I'm better just staying on strike.
Right.
Again,
Brian,
it's
you're
just,
a couple years later for that.
Clearly, guys, it's just called taking a day off. And when you do that, again, if you're new to this and you're catching this, if you do that, not anything is affected. We've seen it every year that I can remember, multiple times even. Yes. Nothing has ever been affected. Nothing has ever even hiccuped. Pay hasn't changed. The platforms have never been like, oh crap, nothing. And every time you do it, it proves power to the platform. So stop doing it.
Yep.
There's other solutions that we work on here. And I'm not saying they're the only ones. I'm just saying that is not a solution. Fact.
Right.
And unless the whole gig economy goes to an employee model, which we all know if it does, it's broken. It will collapse immediately like a house of cards. It's done.
Right.
So there would be no need. But unless you're an employee, that's pointless. There is no striking. So before any other people want to drop that kind of crap, please, and Mushi, think about taking it down. Dude, you got a good audience, man. They don't want to hear that shit. Maybe you think they do, or maybe it's to just bring in new viewers, but people, I know that guy, that creator has been around since I came to YouTube. So probably even before. So, I mean, he knows the game. Don't put that out there. He knows they don't work.
That's a problem. I mean, he's propagandizing. Anyway, that's too big of a word for this late at night.
But I mean, like, again, me putting it on the screen, guys, again, I'm not trying to pick on him. That's his thumbnail. He's got that live on YouTube. So that's not, I didn't do anything. That's his video. So it's public knowledge. This is where he is with it. And I just, it makes me sad when I see people do this stuff, because if it's for clicks and views and you have a big audience, you're really putting out a bad message.
Right.
And you're not being honest. That's like, for sure. You're not being honest with the audience.
That's definitely true.
And that's just sad. So anybody doing that kind of crap, guys, do better. So check out Sean's channel. We got Sean for another week. We got him next week. And maybe he'll drop a couple shorts or do something on the channel too, to show you guys it's like doing something. Or maybe he'll chop some of this up and make it shorts, like, who knows? Just, action on the channel always helps, but give him a little love, because we all know that it takes a little love in the beginning to kind of get you to even moving. So, I don't sit there and go, hit like
resolution, but you've kind of put one on me now.
But you guys, thank you for joining us. I've been live a bunch this week, and I've been going to town because in February I got some of this legislation stuff, that shutdown that happened really backed up some of that stuff, but phase 1 and 2 will kind of move into that. We do have next Friday, Legal Rideshare. I got Brian Greening. You guys have seen him on here before. Brian and I we become such good friends. I'm so comfortable with him as a lawyer that we will talk honestly as it can come. And you guys, and Brian said, like always, be in the live, because we're doing it live. Be in the live, and he'll answer any question you got legal, anything. And he does free consultations. And Legal Rideshare was one of the first. This is not a paid advertisement. This is me plugging my friend, because Legal Rideshare was one of the first ones out there. I've known him since 2017. And they're out of Chicago, but they can represent in every state. And by the way, I always try and give him these props, and I'm going to say it as we leave here tonight. When the pandemic happened, and I don't know if you guys remember, but Uber had put out a thing that if drivers caught COVID, that they would pay. Remember this? They would pay like 3 weeks of your average earnings or something. And then all of a sudden they just didn't pay anybody. Guess what, guys? Legal Rideshare paid out like hundreds of drivers what Uber was supposed to pay.
Wow.
Like people that called them and said, we want to sue. And he said, you can't. They did like fundraisers. They did some like pro bono stuff. They raised money and they gave you the Uber money you were supposed to get from Uber. Just saying.
If
you need a free consultation, he's the guy I go to first. And I have a local attorney in Denver, but he would be the guy I would go to first. He knows the most about gig law. So he will be on here next Friday. We have, and then that, but tomorrow night, it's not every week yet, but I had been saying we're going to do it. But this week, since we've been on the fly with it, I'm just going to end the week with it. We're going to do a Podbean live. Podbean is a free app, guys. You might want to jump on it. I'm going to have a guest that most of you know. And I don't even want to say more than that. You might just want to be there. And I'll put the link, sharing it here, so that you can listen. I'll put a community post up tomorrow afternoon so that you can listen to the live, but you won't be able to comment in it unless you download the Podbean app for free. And then you can actually be in the conversation and be in there. And it's audio only. And I invite you to join. It'll be at 7 p.m. Eastern. And if you download Podbean, just look up Rideshare Rodeo Podcast. Otherwise, look on my community page somewhere an hour or two before that, and I will have a link where you can just play it and listen if you want and hear it live. But I guarantee you, it'll make you want to comment, and you won't be able to without an account. So that said, thank you, Sean, for joining. We will be back next week, and we'll have a whole new arsenal of things to talk about. I mean, I've been talking about stuff all week, and it's just not ending. We're in the third week of the year, and it's just constant bombardment of stuff. we knew this was coming, and here we are. And
Yep.
Thank you, everybody. Have a
interesting
great
year.
night. And thank you, Sean. And be safe, earn smart, and hustle hard, guys.
Good night, y'all.